So in your work, your writing kind of shows this real depth of insight into what I see as the kind of root mechanisms of suffering and discord in the world. And for me, this kind of understanding only really comes about through real kind of lived experience. It has the signature of kind of hard-won personal wisdom. Was that the case for you?
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, not in any dramatic degree. I'm not one of the people who, battled stage 4 cancer or survived intense childhood abuse or anything like that. However, I think that in our civilization, there's a lot of trauma that has become so normalized that we don't recognize it as traumatic. And I have a very sensitive disposition. So, I've definitely experienced my share of inner turmoil, even if the outer circumstances might look, wow, you had a pretty good childhood, Charles. You're quite privileged and you've never really suffered in your life. But that's a kind of judgment that is tempting to place on other people when you don't understand or don't even attempt to understand what it's like for them. Because, as we know, people who outwardly appear very fortunate, very privileged, very successful, they end up killing themselves in huge numbers. So that degree of inner turmoil, of anguish, is invisible. And so I guess what I'm saying is that, for one thing, I haven't experienced anything story worthy, really, except to the extent that everybody has a story and a journey. So I would say the answer to your question maybe actually is yes, but no more than any other human being.
Right. But it sounds like there's, as you say, we all have our own stuff to work through, I guess. And it sounds like you've done that in a work on yourself, and through that process, maybe gleaned insight into the mechanisms of suffering that can then be applied to things at a larger scale. And I think you're right that I guess I also detect in your work this that you hold both of these perspectives, that there are differences between perhaps you and me, in a kind of relative privilege that exists. There are people who go through unbelievable trauma, but at the same time that everyone from their own side has their own story. No one gets away free, right, without any of this trauma.
Yeah, at our current historical genre, unless you are born into one of the very, very few remaining uncontacted tribes in the Amazon or something. Everybody today is, or almost everybody, is born into some degree of the story of separation. If you live in a money economy, if you go to school, if you are scientifically educated, we're all touched by this story, by this wound, actually. We're born into separation, each of us in a different location in the tapestry of interwoven stories. And you could say maybe that our purpose in contribution to humanity's metamorphosis is to live out the particular story and to heal from the particular kind of separation that we're born into.